Hey guys, I'm here, Mr. Cooney, with Act 5, Scene 2, the last scene of Hamlet. I'm sure everything will turn out okay. So, page 109, your book, we left off with the worst funeral ever, and Hamlet and Laertes fighting over who loved Ophelia more, her ex-boyfriend or her strangely affectionate brother. Yeah, that was pretty rough. So here we go. Enter Hamlet and Horatio, and they're still finishing kind of debriefing about what happened with Hamlet and the pirates. Hopefully this will not be a long musical interlude. Get us in the mood. Pause and recording. And here we go.
So much for this, Horatio. Now, let me see. The other. You do remember all the circumstance?
Remember it, my lord.
Sir, in my heart there was a kind of fighting that would not let me sleep. Methought I lay worse than the Mutines and the Bilbos. Rashly, and praised be rashness for it. Let us know, our indiscretion sometimes serves us well when our deep plots do pall.
Hey, things get messed up. You just got to keep going, right? This isn't how Hamlet planned for things to work out, right? So he's relating being on the ship, right? In my heart, there was a kind of fighting that would not let me sleep, right?
And that should teach us. There's a divinity that shapes our ends. Rough hew them how we will.
That is most certain.
Up from my cabin, my sea gown scarfed about me, in the dark, groped I to find out them. Had my desire, fingered their packet, and in fine withdrew to mine own room again, making so bold, my fears forgetting manners, to unseal their grand commission, where I found, Horatio, royal knavery, an exact command, larded with many several sorts of reason, importing Denmark's health and England's too, with such bugs and goblins in my life, that on the supervise, no leisure bated, no not to stay the grinding of the axe, my head should be struck off.
Okay, so we already knew this, right? That Rosencrantz and Guildenstern had written letters from the king with them to give to the king of England with instructions for them to execute Hamlet immediately. So he, in the middle of the night, getting out with some insomnia, like opens the letters and finds out that this was indeed, and now he knows what we already knew, right? So what does he do?
Is possible.
Here's the commission. Read it at more leisure. But wilt thou hear me how I did proceed?
I beseech you.
Being thus benetted round with villains, ere I could make a prologue to my brains, they had begun to play. I sat me down, devised a new commission, wrote it fair. I once did hold it, as our statists do, a baseness to write fair, and laboured much how to forget that learning. But, sir, now it did me yeoman service. Wilt thou know the effect of what I wrote?
Aye.
Do you want to know what I wrote, Horatio? So he takes the original orders and he writes a new letter giving different instructions. I wonder what that'll be.
An earnest conjuration from the king, as England was his faithful tributary, as love between them like the palm should flourish, as peace should still her wheaten garland wear, and stand a comma tween their amities,
Official
and many
sounding.
such like ases of great charge, that on the view and know of these contents, without debatement further, more or less, he should the bearers put to sudden death, not shriving time allowed.
Can you believe that? He changed it to say, please execute the two dudes who just gave you this letter. And Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are on their way, or may have already gotten there, to England without Hamlet to hand the English king a letter that says, please kill these two guys. Too much?
How was this sealed?
Why, even in that was heaven ordinant. I had my father's signet in my purse, which was the model of that Danish seal. Folded the writ up in the form of the other, subscribed it, gave it the impression, placed it safely, the changeling never known. Now the next day was our sea fight, and what to this was sequent thou knowst already.
So Guildenstern and Rosencrantz go to't.
Why, man, they did make love to this employment. They are not near my conscience. Their defeat doth by their own insinuation grow. 'Tis dangerous when the baser nature comes between the pass and fell insensed points of mighty opposites.
Why, what a king is this?
Kind of a strange line there. People argue about that. Hamlet says, I have no regrets about doing what I did, right? And then Horatio says, why, what a king is this? Now, does he mean, what the hell kind of king is this that would do something like that and have them killed? Or does he mean, why, what a king is this? What a king is this? Now, this is a king, right? Who can figure out his way out of a situation and take care of business. Up to us to decide, I guess.
Does it not? Think'st thee stand me now upon? He that hath killed my king and whored my mother, popped in between the election and my hopes, thrown out his angle for my proper life, and with such cozenage, is't not perfect conscience to quit him with this arm, and is't not to be damned to let this canker of our nature come in further evil?
It must be shortly known to him from England what is the issue of the business there.
It will be short. The interim
Okay, so Horatius pointing out that he's going to find out what happens soon enough, right?
is mine, and a man's life no more than to say one. But I am very sorry, good Horatio, that to Laertes I forgot myself, for by the image of my cause I see the portraiture of his. I'll court his favours, but sure the bravery of his grief did put me into a towering passion.
Peace! Who comes here?
Okay, so Hamlet realizes and kind of sympathizes with Laertes. I mean, Laertes has lost his father, like Hamlet did, unfairly, like Hamlet did. But he's lost his sister, right? So he's realized he kind of blew up at Laertes, and maybe he shouldn't have done that, right? Like Laertes was not doing anything wrong there, certainly not to Hamlet, right? He might have been out of control, but pretty understandable. All right, so Osric, this is a little bit of a cumbersome dialogue here, but it's kind of funny in a way. So he's what you call a courtier, right? A person of the court who's really rich in land and stuff, and he's all fancy and, kind of gets to hang around the king and the court and all that stuff. And Claudius has sent Hamlet to give this formal invitation to this seemingly innocent duel with Laertes.
Your lordship is right. Welcome back to Denmark.
I humbly thank you, sir. Dost know this waterfly?
No, my good lord.
Thy state is the more gracious, for 'tis a vice to know him. He hath much land and fertile. Let a beast be lord of beasts, and his crib shall stand at the king's mess. 'Tis a chuff, but as I say, spacious in the possession of dirt.
Sweet lord, if your lordship were at leisure, I should impart a thing to you from his majesty.
I will receive it, sir, with all diligence of spirit. Put your bonnet to his right use, 'tis for the head.
I thank your lordship. 'Tis very hot.
No, believe me, 'tis very cold. The wind is northerly.
It is indifferent cold, my lord, indeed.
Yet methinks 'tis very sultry and hot for my complexion.
Exceedingly, my lord. It is very sultry, as 'twere... I cannot tell how. But, my lord, his majesty bade me signify to you that he hath laid a great wager on your head. Sir, this is the matter.
I beseech you, remember your hat.
Nay, good my lord.
Okay, so you can tell Hamlet's just messing with this guy, right? And it's kind of funny when you think the previous scene, we had this grave digger who, in their world would be looked at as a quote unquote lowly laborer, right? And not be very educated. And here he was like kind of beating Hamlet to the punch on a kind of little contest of wits and puns, right? And then we have this guy who's, as it says, he hath much land and fertile, right? He's got a lot of stuff. He has a lot of material possessions. But he kind of sounds like an idiot, right? He's just overly formal, but he's not actually really smart. So it's kind of Shakespeare kind of little reversal of social classes there as far as who might really be smart.
For my ease, in good faith. Sir, here is newly come to court, Laertes. Believe me, an absolute gentleman, full of most excellent differences, of very soft society and great showing. Indeed, to speak feelingly of him, he is the card or calendar of gentry. For you shall find in him the continent of what part a gentleman would see.
Sir, his definement suffers no perdition in you, though I know to divide him inventorially would dizzy the arithmetic of memory, and yet but you're neither in respect of his quick sale, but in the verity of extolment. I take him to be a soul of great article, and his infusion of such dearth and rareness as to make true diction of him his semblable as his mirror, and who else would trace him his umbrage, nothing more.
Your lordship speaks most infallibly of him.
The concernancy, sir. Why do we wrap the gentleman in our more rawer breath?
Sir?
It's not possible to understand in another tongue. You will do it, sir, really.
What imports the nomination of this gentleman?
Of Laertes.
Kiss Percy's empty.
They're trying to get to the point. Why are we talking about Laertes in such a complimentary way? Why are you bringing him up? Get to the point. We know why, right? He's saying he's going to be your honorable opponent for this duel. Right?
Already. All golden words are spent.
Of him, sir.
I know you are not ignorant.
I would you did, sir. Yet in faith, if you did, it would not much approve me. Well, sir,
You are not ignorant of what excellence Laertes is.
I dare not confess that, lest I should compare with him in excellence. But to know a man well were to know himself.
I mean, sir, for his weapon.
Ah.
But in the imputation laid on him, by them in his meed, he is unfellowed. Sir, you are not ignorant of what excellence Laertes is at his weapon.
What's his weapon?
A rapier and dagger.
That's two of his weapons, but well.
The king, sir, hath waged with him 6 Barbary horses, against the which he hath imponed, as I take it, 6 French rapiers and poniards, with their assigns as girdle, hangers or so. 3 of the carriage faith, are very dear to fancy, very responsive to the hilts, most delicate carriage, and a very liberal consent.
What call you the carriage?
I knew you must be edified by the marginaire you had done.
The carriage, sir, are the hangers.
The phrase would be more germane to the matter if we could carry cannon by our sides. I would it might be hangers till then. But on. 6 Barbary horses against 6 French swords, their assigns, and 3 liberal, conceited carriage. That's the French bet against the Danish. Why is this imponed, as you call it?
The king, sir, hath laid, sir, that in a dozen passes between you and him, he shall not exceed you 3 hits. He hath laid on 12 for 9, and it would come to immediate trial if your lordship would vouchsafe the answer.
Okay, so they're betting, to make it look like it's like this friendly thing, and Hamlet's getting +3 if you're a gambling person, I guess, right? I hear that's how they do it. Hamlet gets points, right? Because Laertes is more practiced, right? And then it would come to immediate trial if your lordship would not answer the challenge for killing Polonius, right? So you have to do this. He's obliging him.
How if I answer no?
I mean, my lord, the opposition of your person in trial.
Sir, I will walk here in the hall. If it please his majesty, 'tis the breathing time of day with me. Let
I'll
the
do it.
foils be brought, the gentleman willing, and the king hold his purpose. I will win for him if I can. If not, I will gain nothing but my shame and the odd hits.
Shall I re-deliver you in, sir?
To this effect, sir, after what flourish your nature will.
I commend my duty to your lordship.
Yours. He does well to commend it himself. There are no tongues else for his turn.
This lapwing runs away with a shell on his head.
He did comply with his dug before he sucked it. Thus has he and many more.
Saying this guy talks so much, he probably had a conversation with his wet nurse's breast before he nursed from it. That's a good one.
More of the same bevy that I know the drossy age dotes on. Only got the tune of the time and outward habit of encounter. A kind of yeasty collection which carries them through and through the most fanned and winnowed opinions, and do but blow them to their trials, the bubbles are out.
Probably somewhat offensively, Hamlet was definitely, or Shakespeare through Hamlet was definitely like taking some hard pokes, at monarchs and their courts, it was taken well or not, but definitely satirizing a courtier there. Okay, so enter a lord.
My lord, his majesty commended him to you by young Osric, who brings back to him that you attend him in the hall. He sends to know if your pleasure hold to play with Laertes, or that you will take longer time.
I am constant to my purposes. They follow the king's pleasure. If his fitness speaks, mine is ready, now or whensoever, provided I be so able as now.
The king and queen and all are coming down.
In happy time.
The queen desires you to use some gentle entertainment to Laertes before you fall to play.
She well instructs me.
My lord.
You will lose this wager, my lord.
I do not think so. Since he went into France, I have been in continual practice. I shall win at the odds. But thou wouldst not think how ill all's here about my heart. But it is no matter.
Nay, good my lord.
It is but foolery. But it is such a kind of game-giving as would perhaps trouble a woman.
If your mind is like anything, obey it. I will forestall their repair hither, and say you are not fit.
Not a whit. We defy augury. There is a special providence in the fall of a sparrow. If it be now, 'tis not to come. If it be not to come, it will be now. If it be not now, yet it will come. The readiness is all, since no man knows aught of what he leaves. What is't to leave betimes? Let be.
Let it be. What do you think the it is there? He's been contemplating mortality and his acceptance of it, right? And then that line, if it be now, 'tis not to come. If it be not to come, it will be now. If it be not now, yet it will come. The readiness is all. Love that line. The readiness is all. So what's it? I'll leave it to you to determine that, but I think you know. It's not a new scene here, but it kind of is. Things are going to wrap up, and some stuff's going to go down. Enter king, queen, Laertes, and lords. Remember the king and Laertes' strategy and their backup plans, everything that's in play here, and everything that is in certain chalices and on the tips of swords and things like that. And the only people to know about that, as far as we know, are Laertes and Claudius, right? So there's a lot of dramatic irony going on there because we know everything that's going on, right? Other attendants with foils. The foils are the swords. Table, flagons of wine on it. All right, guys, here we go.
Come, Hamlet. Come and take this hand from me.
Give me your pardon, Laertes. I have done you wrong, but pardon it as you're a gentleman. This presence knows, and you must needs have heard, how I am punished with a sore distraction. What I have done, that might your nature, honour, and exception roughly awake, I here proclaim was madness. Was Hamlet wronged Laertes? Never Hamlet. If Hamlet from himself be ta'en away, and when he's not himself does wrong Laertes, then Hamlet does it not. Hamlet denies it. Who does it then? His madness. If it be so, Hamlet is of the faction that is wronged. His madness is poor Hamlet's enemy. Sir, in this audience, let my disclaiming from a purposed evil free me so far in your most generous thoughts, that I have shot my arrow o'er the house and hurt my brother.
Sincere? Mostly, right? I haven't been myself. It was my madness that did this. Maybe not completely true, but he's still being kind of a sincere apology to Laertes, because he doesn't know what Laertes is up to here, right? So Laertes might feel a little bit of guilt. Hamlet's here being so honorable and apologetic with what he's got planned, right?
I am satisfied in nature, whose motive
still
in
kill-
this case should
still kill
serve
the dad,
devotion
though.
to my revenge. But in my terms of honour, I stand aloof. Will no reconcilement till by some elder masters of known honour I have a voice and precedent of peace to keep my name ungawed. But till that time, I do receive your offered love, like love, and will not wrong it.
I do embrace it freely. And will this brother's wager frankly play? Give us the foils, come on.
Come, one for me.
I'll be your foil, Laertes. In mine ignorance, your skill shall, like a star in the darkest night, stick fiery off indeed.
You mock me, sir.
No!
Yeah, so it's a little pun on the word foil there, right? I'll be a contrast to you because you're better than me. The foil also means the swords. And Laertes thinks he's mocking him. Is he or not?
By this hand.
Says he's not.
Give him the foils, young Osric. Cousin Hamlet, you know the wager?
Very well, my lord. Your grace hath laid the odds of the weaker side.
I do not fear it. I have seen you both. But since he is bettered, we have therefore lost.
This is too heavy. Let me see another. Yeah.
This likes
Laertes is like, yeah, I like that one. It's the one without the baited edge.
me. Well, these foils
Wait.
have all a length.
Aye, my good lord.
Send me the stoops of wine upon that table. If Hamlet give the first or second hit, or quit in answer of the third exchange, let all the battlements their ordnance fire. The king shall drink to Hamlet's better breath. And in the cup, an union shall he throw, richer than that which 4 successive kings in Denmark's crown have worn. Give me the cups, and let the kettle to the trumpet speak, the trumpet to the cannoneer without, the cannons to the heavens, the heaven to earth. Now the king drinks to Hamlet. Come, begin, and you, the judges, bear a wary eye.
Come on, sir. Come.
Let's keep score.
My lord. Hey!
What? No! Judgment I hit a very palpable hit.
1-0 Hamlet.
Again?
Stay! Give me drink. Hamlet, this pearl is thine. Here's to thy health. Give him the cup.
I'll play this bout first. Set it by a while.
That was close.
Come. Hey! Another hit will see you!
A touch. A touch, I do confess.
Hamlet is defying the odds. 2-0.
Our son shall win.
He's fat and scant of breath. Here, Hamlet, take my napkin, rub thy brows. The queen carouses to thy fortune, Hamlet.
Good, madam.
Gertrude, do not drink.
I will, my lord. I pray you pardon me.
It is the poison cup. It is too late.
Oh my God. Claudius. Do you guys realize what just happened? Apparently Gertrude was not in on this plan. Maybe she hasn't been on any plans, but she was certainly not in on this one. She drinks from the cup. And Claudius, aside to himself, says, "It is the poison cup. It is too late." She's toast.
Hamlet,
I dare not drink yet, madam. By and by.
come. Let me wipe thy face.
My lord, I'll hit him now.
I do not think.
And yet, it is almost against my conscience.
Notice what Laertes says there.
Come for the third, Laertes. You do but dally. I pray you pass with your best violence. I am afraid you make a wanton of me.
Oh, say you so. Come on.
Nothing neither way.
How about you now? I'll have at you with your own foil, Laertes.
Okay, so let's look really carefully at these stage directions. There's crazy stuff going on. Laertes wounds Hamlet, which means, as much as I hate to say it, Hamlet has been scratched by the poisoned sword, but it won't take effect for a while, right? So then in scuffling, they are wrestling on the ground, end up changing swords, and Hamlet wounds Laertes. And the king says, "Part them, they are incensed." They've both gotten scratched by the poisoned sword.
Part them, they are incensed.
Nay, come again.
Look to the feet there! They bleed on both sides! How is it, my lord? How is Laertes?
Why, as a woodcock to mine own springe, Osric. Justly killed with mine own treachery.
Caught by my own trap, in other words, right? And they're wondering, Horatio's wondering, how can they bleed on both sides? They're supposed to be baited swords, right? They're supposed to be fencing swords. How are the both of them bleeding? Well, we know how, right?
Does the queen? She swoons. Does she not bleed?
No. The drink. The drink. Oh, my dear Hamlet. The drink. The drink. I am poisoned.
Oh, villainy. Oh, let the door be locked. Treachery. Seek it out.
Okay, so he's trying to figure out what's going on here, right? Has some idea. Gertrude has died. They want to figure out what's going on. Osric goes maybe to lock the door. He leaves. Laertes falls.
It is here! Hamlet! Hamlet, thou art slain. No medicine in the world can do thee good. In thee, there is not half an hour of life. The treacherous instrument is in thy hand, unbaited and envenomed. The foul practice hath turned itself on me. Lo, here I lie, never to rise again. Thy mother's poisoned. I can no more. The king's to blame!
The point envenomed too. Then venom through thy work now!
Stabs the king. Is anybody going to come to Claudius's defense?
Defend me! Friends! I am but hurt! So incestuous, murderous, damned Dane, drink off this potion! Is thy union here? Follow my mother!
Well, he got him, but at quite a price, right?
He is justly served. It is a poison tempered by himself. Exchange forgiveness with me, noble Hamlet. Mine and my father's death come not upon thee, nor thine on me.
Well, Laertes kind of redeems himself there, doesn't he? Wants an honest exchange of forgiveness between he and Hamlet before they're both gone, which is going to be really soon. And he tells him, you know, my father's death's not on you, because he sees that all of this was caused by Claudius's treachery, right? One way or another, he's got that much figured out, right? And as Hamlet responds,
Heaven make thee free of it.
the same way.
I follow thee. I am dead. Horatio! Oh, wretched queen, adieu. You that look pale and tremble at this chance, that are but mutes or audience to this act, had I but time, as this fell sergeant Death is strict in his arrest. Oh, I could tell you, but let it be. Horatio, I am dead. Thou livest. Report me, and my cause aright to the unsatisfied.
I never believe it. I am more an antique Roman than a Dane. Huh? Here's yet some liquor left.
As thou art a man, give me the cup. Let go, by heaven, I'll have it.
You've got a question about that, so take a close look at that line there and think about what he means by that.
Oh, God, Horatio, what a wounded name, thing standing thus unknown, shall live behind me. If thou didst ever hold me in thy heart, absent thee from felicity a while, and in this harsh world draw thy breath in pain to tell my story. What warlike noise is this?
My lord! Young Fortinbras,
with conquest, come from Poland to the ambassador of England, gives this warlike volley.
Okay, so he's coming back from England. The timing here, kind of crazy. Excuse me, coming back from Poland, maybe having defeated the Poles for that worthless patch of land, that eggshell, and then sees the ambassadors from England who are coming back with, I don't know, maybe some news about what they were requested to do. All weird timings, and fires their cannons off like, hey, you know, just acknowledging their presence. In the meantime.
Oh, I die, Horatio. Potent poison quite o'ercrows my spirit. I cannot live to hear the news from England, but I do prophesy the election lights on Fortinbras. He has my dying voice. So tell him, with your currents, more and less, which have solicited, the rest is silence. Now cracks a noble heart. Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest. Why does the drum come hither?
Oh, these lines get me every time. At the end, Hamlet says he's giving his approval, his respectful approval to Fortinbras taking over Denmark. That's what he thinks should happen. I have to think about that. And then this line, the rest is silence. People have puzzled over that line forever, you know, but like going all the way back to like, you know, what dreams may come in that soliloquy. We don't know what comes after, right? Are we going to be aware of what comes after? I mean, nobody knows, right? So when Hamlet says the rest is silence, it's just like, well, that's all I know that's on the way. I feel silence coming on, right? The rest is silence. Whatever I have left is silence. And then Horatio's lines, now cracks a noble heart. Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest. Beautiful words. And he was always the true friend, right? All the way to the end, even threatening, you know, to follow Hamlet into death at the very end. But of course, the Shakespeare play, you got to have someone left over to tell somebody what happened, right? Enter Fortinbras. We're going to actually hear this guy speak.
Where is this sight?
What is it you would see? If aught of woe or wonder, cease your search.
This quarry cries on havoc. O proud death! What feast is toward in thine eternal cell, that thou so many princes at a shot so bloodily hast struck?
The sight is dismal, and our affairs from England come too late. The ears are senseless that should give us hearing to tell him his commandment is fulfilled, that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Where should we have our thanks?
Not from his mouth. Had it the ability of life to thank you, he never gave commandment for their death.
What an absolutely comically absurd thing to happen in this situation. I mean, there's so many horrible things going on. And Hamlet is dead. Laertes is dead. Gertrude is dead. And right in the middle of that, Shakespeare has these ambassadors come in and want to tell someone, hey, we killed those two idiots, like you said. Does somebody get thank us for that? So great.
But since so jump upon this bloody question, you from the Polack Wars and you from England are here arrived. Give order that these bodies high on a stage be placed to the view, and let me speak to the yet unknowing world how these things came about. So shall you hear of carnal, bloody, and unnatural acts, of accidental judgments, casual slaughters, of deaths put on by cunning and forced cause. And in this upshot, purposes mistook fallen on the inventors' heads. All this can I truly deliver.
Let us haste to hear it, and call the noblest to the audience. for me, with sorrow I embrace my fortune. I have some rights of memory in this kingdom, which now to claim my vantage doth invite me.
Of that I shall have also cause to speak, and from his mouth whose voice will draw on more.
Okay, because Hamlet told Horatio that he approves of Fortinbras taking over. Notice Fortinbras's character. He's so decisive and bold and yet respectful. Like, this is what's going to happen, and, you know.
But let this same be presently performed, even while men's minds are wild, lest more mischance on plots and errors happen.
Let 4 captains bear Hamlet like a soldier to the stage. For he was likely, had he been put on, to have proved most royally. And for his passage, the soldier's music and the rights of war speak loudly for him. Take up the bodies. Such a sight as this becomes the field, but here shows much amiss. Go. Bid the soldiers shoot.
March, exit, bearing off the bodies, after which a peal of ordnance is shot off. So, good words, Fortinbras, right? Very respectful of the situation. Says, hey, let's get this cleaned up. This looks like a battlefield in here. This doesn't look like a king's court, and it's where he's going to be king. So what does it all mean? You know, that's the thing. Was this, hey, he died, but Hamlet got Claudius, and that's what's important? You know, I don't think so. You know, I think it has more to do with the cause of all of this and what it can inevitably do, you know, and maybe someone is unfortunately needed to be as decisive as Fortinbras was. But the real idea is that you shouldn't need that quite that much, right? What you need is a community and a society where the people at the top aren't abusing their power and trying to grab more power by doing horrible things, I think is what Shakespeare's really getting at. So, but we'll talk about it more in class and see what you think. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope these videos have been helpful. I feel like one of the one of the AP classroom teachers or something. I guess I'll have these forever. So anyway, work on that study guide. Bring in some good readers logs. Let's have a good discussion on, I guess, Thursday. That is it. See you soon.